This is a sign from God when a narcissist will suffer. Life has a way of providing us with lessons, some of them painful, others insightful. For those who have been in relationships with narcissistic individuals, the emotional toll can be draining. Narcissists have a way of manipulating, gaslighting, and controlling others for their own gain, leaving devastation in their wake. The constant exploitation, the emotional abuse, and the disregard for others' feelings leave many asking, when will the narcissist face consequences for their actions? Is there a point where they will suffer? Is there a sign that we can look for to know when that moment has come? In this video, we'll dive deep into the signs that indicate a narcissist is about to face the suffering that they so often bring to others. More importantly, we'll discuss why this is not just karmic justice, but a natural consequence of their toxic behaviors. No one is above facing the repercussions of their actions, and narcissists are no exception. But how do you know when it will happen? When will the facade that they've so carefully constructed begin to crumble? The truth is, there are several signs you can look out for, and in understanding these, you can find both peace and clarity. But before we begin, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from hearing this message. Narcissism is something that many people suffer from, and spreading awareness can help bring understanding and healing. The more we talk about these toxic behaviors, the more empowered we become to avoid and overcome them. Narcissists live in a world where they view themselves as the central figure, deserving of admiration, praise, and unquestioning loyalty. They often use charm, manipulation, and deception to control those around them, feeding off the validation they receive from others. They maintain a facade of perfection, hiding the deep insecurities and flaws that fuel their behavior. At times, this can make them appear invulnerable, as if nothing can touch them. The truth, however, is that their entire existence is built on a fragile foundation, one that sooner or later will collapse. The narcissist's core belief is that they are superior to everyone around them, and they will stop at nothing to prove it. They are skilled in making others feel inferior, often causing confusion and emotional chaos in their wake. This sense of superiority is what drives them to exploit others for validation, admiration, and even power. They believe that the rules of morality and fairness don't apply to them. But deep down, there is an underlying fear of exposure of their true selves, the self-doubt, the emptiness that they work so hard to hide. Eventually, that fear comes to the surface, and with it their suffering. The signs of a narcissist's impending downfall are not always easy to spot, especially when you are caught in their manipulative web. However, once you understand these signs, you will be able to recognize the inevitable moment when the narcissist will suffer and their facade will come crashing down. These signs are not just random, but they are a reflection of the natural consequences of their actions. One of the most significant signs that a narcissist is about to suffer is when their carefully crafted image starts to crack. Narcissists spend a considerable amount of time creating a perfect persona for the world to see. They project an image of success, intelligence, beauty, or charm, anything that will make them appear superior. This image is carefully curated, and they rely on it for validation. However, when their actions are questioned, when their lies are exposed, or when their manipulations come to light, the cracks in this perfect image begin to show. The more they try to maintain the illusion, the more obvious the cracks become. The narcissist's need for validation can sometimes be their greatest weakness. When the truth about their actions or behavior begins to surface, they can no longer maintain their image of perfection. People start to see them for who they truly are, someone who is insecure, manipulative, and driven by a desperate need for control. This exposure leads to a loss of power, and the narcissist begins to suffer the consequences of their actions. The admiration they once commanded fades, and with it, their sense of self-importance. Another major sign that a narcissist will suffer is when their source of admiration begins to withdraw. Narcissists thrive on the attention and admiration they receive from others. They seek constant praise, validation, and approval to sustain their fragile self-esteem. The moment their supply of admiration begins to dry up, they begin to feel empty, lost, and desperate. This is when the cracks in their facade deepen, and they are forced to confront their own insecurity. When a narcissist is no longer able to control or manipulate others into giving them the admiration they crave, they are left with a sense of internal emptiness. They have relied so heavily on external validation that they have no sense of self-worth without it. This emptiness is a form of suffering, one that the narcissist cannot escape. The more they struggle to regain control over their supply, the more their suffering intensifies. Eventually, they are left to face the truth. They are no longer the center of attention, and they are no longer in control. This realization is a powerful sign that their suffering is imminent. Another sign that a narcissist will suffer is when their web of lies and manipulation begins to unravel. Narcissists often rely on deceit to maintain their control over others. They manipulate facts, twist the truth, and create narratives that serve their interests. They may tell lies about their achievements, their relationships, or even their character. However, lies have a way of coming to light, and when they do, the narcissist is faced with the painful reality that their illusions can no longer be sustained. As more people begin to see through the narcissist's lies, they lose their power. The people who once admired and trusted them start to question everything they've been told. The narcissist's authority is undermined, and their carefully constructed narrative falls apart. This loss of control is a devastating blow to the narcissist, and it marks the beginning of their suffering. Without the ability to manipulate or deceive others, they are left vulnerable, exposed, and powerless. Furthermore, narcissists often use others as a means of boosting their own self-esteem. They will manipulate, gaslight, and emotionally abuse those around them to keep them in a position of weakness. They use these individuals as pawns to maintain their sense of superiority and control. However, when the people they've manipulated begin to break free, when they start to assert their boundaries and reclaim their power, the narcissist is left without their primary source of validation. This shift in power dynamics is a clear sign that the narcissist's reign is coming to an end. The final sign that a narcissist will suffer is when they begin to feel the weight of their loneliness. Narcissists may appear to have many friends, admirers, or romantic partners, but their relationships are often shallow and transactional. They surround themselves with people who serve their needs, but these relationships are rarely genuine. The narcissist may have a large circle of people who admire them, but they lack the deeper, authentic connections that provide real emotional fulfillment. When the narcissist begins to lose their source of admiration, when the people who once served their needs begin to distance themselves, they are left with a profound sense of loneliness. This loneliness is not the kind that can be solved by finding new people to manipulate. It's a deep existential emptiness that comes from the realization that they have never truly formed meaningful connections with anyone. This loneliness is one of the most painful aspects of the narcissist's suffering, as it forces them to confront the void within themselves. As you can see, there are several clear signs that indicate when a narcissist will suffer. The crumbling of their facade, the withdrawal of their supply of admiration, the exposure of their lies, and the realization of their loneliness all point to the inevitable downfall of the narcissist. These are not random events, they are the natural consequences of their behavior. Narcissists live in a world of delusion, and when that world begins to collapse, they are left to face the truth of who they really are. In conclusion, the signs that a narcissist will suffer are clear and undeniable. These signs are not a form of punishment or divine retribution. They are simply the result of their toxic behaviors. Narcissists may appear invincible at times, but their need for control, admiration, and manipulation will ultimately lead to their downfall. Understanding these signs can give you the peace of mind that the narcissist will eventually face the consequences of their actions. Justice may take time, but it will come. And when it does, the narcissist will be forced to confront the reality of their own behavior. Thank you for reading. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who may need this message. Remember, no one is beyond the reach of the consequences of their actions. Stay strong, trust yourself, and know that you are not alone. Watch out! It's hoovering season. Don't feed the narcissist. Have you ever felt the incredible rush of relief after breaking free from a narcissistic relationship, only to have your peace shattered by a sudden message or phone call from the very person you thought you had escaped? The narcissist in your life, someone who had once made you feel small, unseen, and emotionally drained, now seems to be pulling you back in with promises of change, apologies, and undying affection. This isn't just coincidence, it's hoovering season, and if you're not careful, you might fall right back into the trap. You might be wondering, what's hoovering? Why does a narcissist keep trying to bring you back after everything they put you through? It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? A narcissist, someone who appears so self-absorbed and emotionally detached, would want to reconnect with you after pushing you away. But this is exactly what happens during hoovering season, and the reality is more sinister than you might think. In this video, we will unravel the mystery of narcissist hoovering, explain why they do it, and arm you with the knowledge you need to protect yourself from their toxic manipulation. If you've ever experienced hoovering firsthand, you know it can be one of the most confusing and emotionally taxing forms of manipulation. It can make you question your own decisions and feel guilty for walking away, even if you were the one hurt. So, why is it so hard to resist? And how can you ensure that you don't feed the narcissist's need for control, keeping your emotional boundaries intact? Stick around, because by the end of this article, you'll be armed with the insights you need to recognize hoovering for what it is, break free from the narcissist's grasp, and protect your well-being. Before we dive into the complexities of narcissist hoovering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this article a like, and share it with anyone who might need to hear this important message. Let's begin. What is hoovering, and why do narcissists do it? To fully understand hoovering, we first need to dive into the psychology behind it. Narcissists are notorious for their need to control and manipulate those around them. At the core of their behavior lies an insatiable desire to feel superior, admired, and validated. However, this external validation is fleeting and unsustainable. So, when someone breaks free from a narcissist, either emotionally or physically, their fragile ego is shattered, and they'll stop at nothing to get that person back in their life. This is where hoovering comes in. Named after the vacuum cleaner, the term hoovering refers to the narcissist's attempt to suck you back into their orbit, just like a vacuum sucks up dust and debris. It's a deliberate and calculated effort to regain control, boost their self-esteem, and reaffirm their sense of importance. Hoovering often happens after a period of emotional distance or after you've gone no contact. The narcissist knows that losing their target, you, is a blow to their sense of self-worth, and so they use various tactics to pull you back in. These tactics can range from sincere-sounding apologies to guilt-tripping, manipulation, and even threats. The goal is always the same: to make you believe that reconnecting is in your best interest, or that they've changed for the better. It's important to recognize that hoovering is not about love or genuine affection. Narcissists don't typically see people as individuals with needs, emotions, and desires. Instead, they view others as tools to serve their emotional needs. When they hoover, it's not out of care or concern. It's out of a need to maintain power, control, and validation. They need you to feed their ego, whether that means getting back together, continuing the emotional connection, or simply proving that they still matter to you. The key thing to understand here is that hoovering is not about reconciliation in the traditional sense. It's about re-establishing the narcissist's emotional dominance over you, feeding their need for constant admiration, and ensuring that you're always there to serve their ego, even if it means putting you through more emotional turmoil. The tactics narcissists use to hoover you back in. Hoovering is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Narcissists are highly skilled at manipulation and understand how to use different tactics based on your personality, vulnerabilities, and the nature of your previous relationship. Let's take a look at some common hoovering tactics narcissists use to pull you back into their orbit. 1. Love bombing. Narcissists often employ a tactic known as love bombing when they first enter your life, and they use it again during hoovering season. Love bombing involves overwhelming you with affection, compliments, and gestures of kindness. They might send you sweet texts, buy you gifts, or express how much they miss you. At first glance, this may seem genuine, but it's all part of a calculated effort to make you feel loved and appreciated, so much so that you might begin to believe the good times were worth overlooking the bad. They know that when you're flooded with positive emotions, it's easier for you to forget the hurt they caused. 2. Making empty promises. Another hoovering tactic narcissists use is making promises to change. They may apologize profusely, claim that they've been to therapy, or tell you that they've been working on themselves. These promises are rarely followed through with real action, but they're designed to make you believe that this time will be different. Narcissists rely on the hope that you want to believe in their promises of change, and they use that hope to create doubt in your mind about leaving them for good. 3. Guilt tripping. If a narcissist can't reel you in with affection or promises of change, they'll often turn to guilt. They may accuse you of being cruel or heartless for leaving them, making you feel like you're abandoning them when they need you most. They might even claim that no one else will love you the way they did, or that you're being unfair by cutting them out of your life. Guilt tripping is one of the most effective tools they use because it preys on your empathy, making you feel responsible for their well-being. 4. Playing the victim. Narcissists are masters of the victim card. When they sense that they've lost control, they often portray themselves as the victim of circumstances or your actions. They might claim that they're suffering because of your decision to leave, or that they're the one who's been hurt. By positioning themselves as the victim, they make you feel like you owe them sympathy, and it can manipulate you into coming back to help ease their pain. 5. Contacting you when you're vulnerable. Narcissists are excellent at timing their hoovering attempts. They know when you're feeling low, vulnerable, or going through a difficult time, and they often reach out during these moments. Whether it's a personal loss, a job change, or a difficult life event, narcissists will use these vulnerable moments to their advantage. They might message you out of the blue, offering a listening ear or claiming to be concerned about your well-being. This can be especially challenging because it makes you feel like they care, even though their real motive is to gain access to your emotional energy. The emotional impact of hoovering on victims. Hoovering is not only emotionally draining, but can also have lasting effects on your mental and emotional well-being. After all, breaking free from a narcissist is no easy task. The emotional abuse and manipulation you've endured may have left you questioning your self-worth, your decision-making abilities, and your ability to trust others. When a narcissist hoovers you back in, they're not only challenging your boundaries, they are also pulling you back into a cycle of emotional abuse. The love-bombing phase can make you forget the pain they caused, while the subsequent devaluation and discarding phases can leave you feeling worse than before. Each time they reel you back in, it reinforces the idea that you can't live without them, and that their approval is something you need in order to feel good about yourself. This is how trauma bonding works, by creating a cycle of love, pain, and confusion that makes it incredibly difficult to leave and stay away. How to protect yourself from narcissist hoovering. Now that we've explored the insidious tactics narcissists use to hoover, it's crucial to focus on how you can protect yourself. Here are several key strategies that can help you stay strong and avoid falling back into the narcissist's trap. 1. Recognize that hoovering behavior. The first step in protecting yourself from hoovering is to recognize it for what it is. When the narcissist reaches out to you, ask yourself, are they truly apologizing, or are they simply trying to regain control? Trust your instincts. If their behavior is manipulative or self-serving, it's a clear sign that they're hoovering. 2. Maintain no contact. The most effective way to protect yourself is to maintain no contact with the narcissist. This means cutting off all communication and staying firm in your decision to leave them behind. Block them on social media, change your contact information if necessary, and distance yourself physically and emotionally. 3. Set boundaries. If you absolutely have to communicate with the narcissist, because of shared responsibilities like children or work, make sure to set clear, firm boundaries. Keep your interactions short, businesslike, and impersonal. Do not allow them to manipulate you with emotional pleas. 4. Seek support. Breaking free from a narcissist can be a long and difficult journey, and it's important to have a support system in place. Talk to friends, family, or a therapist who can offer guidance and reassurance when you're feeling vulnerable. The more support you have, the easier it